Hey Eurovision fans, it's Tom coming to you from Dublin. I'm back for another Eurovision analysis video. Today I'm reacting to the running order from semi-final number 1. We're going to see who's the most affected and whether it changes any of my predictions on who's going to qualify. So let's kiki. Timestamps are in the progress bar. If you want lots of Eurovision analysis, don't forget to check out my Eurovision analysis playlist and subscribe as well. So first of all, let's go through what the running order was. We have Norway opening, then Malta, Serbia, Latvia, Portugal, Ireland, Croatia finishing off the half. Second half, Switzerland, Israel, Moldova, Sweden, Azerbaijan, Czechia, Netherlands and Finland. So let's go through them one by one and see what were the surprises, what was a little bit unusual. So first off, Norway starting. Quite a few people picked this. I think most of us thought it was going to be Norway, Ireland or Malta. I guessed Portugal because I wanted to be different. But yeah, Norway in hindsight kind of makes the most sense. If you're starting off the first semi-final, you want to have something pretty strong to start off the whole show. I thought possibly they might want to save it for later because it is arguably the most popular song within the first half. I guess they reckon they would just sacrifice that just so they could ensure that the show is going to start really well. I don't know anything about her performance yet, but I imagine it's going to be something similar to MGP, which is a really great, fiery, exciting way to start the show. So this is a good call. This is currently 4th favorite to win the whole competition. Norway on a 5 qualification streak. Being first is not going to affect them. They're still going to qualify, and that's good as well because it'll improve the qualification numbers for the first place slot. Norway starting, opening the show again after opening with Alexander Rybak in 2018. Okay, second up we have Malta. So they're in the second slot. Nobody's qualified from the second slot since 2017. So that's both semi-finals for the last 4 competitions. Nobody's qualified from the second place. So big test here now from Malta on whether they can. It is still possible. If you put Loreen in the second place slot, she will qualify. It's not like it's impossible to qualify from it. It's just generally the producers put weaker songs in the second place slot. That's just how it goes. If we use Lorraine example, if she was drawn first half, you wouldn't put her second in the running order. That's crazy. You would keep your bigger songs for generally later or the first slot. So that is one of the reasons as well why the second and third slots tend to have a worse qualification rate, is generally weaker songs are put there. So yeah, Malta looking to break that streak. It's going to be very difficult for them. Yeah, look, draw-wise, it's not great. I don't think they're out, but they're just going to have to come with something really big and memorable. So at the end of it, they're still going to be remembered. Yeah, but definitely this is going to dent their chances a little bit. I had them as borderline no's. I'm keeping them as that until I see the rehearsals. Okay, in the third slot we have Serbia. This is actually the second year in a row that Serbia's in the third slot. Constructor was there last year as well, and she did manage to qualify third. I think she was joint first in the televote as well. So yeah, look, you can win the televote from that early. Now obviously Constructor was quite an iconic Eurovision performance. Luke Black, Samo Misa, not as iconic, but I do think the song is strong enough to still get through. And if he does get through, it's going to improve the qualification rate from that slot, which is currently the lowest. The third slot has only a 35% qualification record. I think that they're purposefully putting some strong songs in 2 and 3 this year to try and get those numbers up, to try and dispel some of the reputation around it. Yeah, look, this isn't ideal, but he's going to be working with Constructor's team. He'll definitely be inspired by her. It's definitely possible. I'm still putting this through as a likely yes. If Constructor hadn't happened last year from the exact same spot, I'd probably be a little bit more worried, but we have got that like very recent history that it's possible. I think he's going to come with something very ambitious and fun. So yeah, I'm still sure that Luke is going to be able to qualify. Okay, now let's go to slot number 4, and that is Latvia, Southern Lights singing Aya. Now an interesting thing about slot number 4 is the last 5 semi-finals, everyone in slot 4 has qualified. Last year it was Azerbaijan and Switzerland. Both of those heavily relied on the jury. They both did very poorly with the televote. Azerbaijan got 0 points, Switzerland got 11 or so. But in fairness, that was a jury televote so people were able to send jury bait songs. That was a valid strategy this year. It's not this year. So 5 qualification streak in the fourth slot. That gives me a little bit more hope for lovely little Latvia. I really want them to come through. This is like my big underdog story this year. I would love Southern Lights to qualify. Look, last year Latvia were second, this year they're 4th. It's a little bit better. It would be nice if they could get a second half draw for once. It could be worse. I would have liked if they were in 6th or 7th. I would like if the producers showed some acknowledgement for the fact that they are on this pretty dark qualification streak and help them a little bit. But keep in mind there's lots of things we don't know. We don't know what the staging color schemes are like, what kind of props are being brought onto the stage, etc. let's say, for example, that Ireland has some big props they're bringing in, then they're going to have to be before the ad break to allow the time for it to be taken off the stage. Usually they only have around 25-30 seconds to move everything on or off. If you have an ad break, you obviously have a lot more time, so it helps you deal with complicated props. We saw that last year in the final with the UK. They had the big rocket. We had to go to the green room for 2 or 3 minutes to set it up. So yeah, there are those like logistical considerations that we don't know about right now because we don't know what the staging plans are, whereas the producers do. The color scheme thing is important as well. If their staging is all silver and their staging is all silver, you can't have them back to back. You need to separate them. I'm sure when we actually see the show, everything will make sense. But yeah, it would have been nice if Latvia were a little bit later. I'm still thinking they're borderline no, but I'm a little bit like, ooh, lucky slot number 4. Hopefully they can turn that around. The 4th slot overall has a 46% qualification record, which is lower than normal. On the flip side, slot number 5 has a 5 non-qualification streak. This is 5 in a row qualified. This is 5 in a row not qualified from slot number 5. We've got Portugal, Mimi Katzing, and Al Corsau. Yeah, I think this is not too bad for her. I think that no matter where she was going to be put in the entire semi-final, she's going to stand out, because really her song is completely and utterly unique, which is what Portugal tends to do. They tend to send these really lovely, authentic feeling entries, and the plus side of that is no matter where they're going to be put in a semi-final, they're always going to feel special and unique. I think coming between Latvia and Ireland is going to point that out even more. What a complete contrast to 2 male bands being either side of her, with kind of one with very cheesy pop and one with more kind of more indie feel. She's going to really stand out with her show tunes. I think that she can turn this 5 non-qualification streak in the 5th slot around. Portugal are on a 2 qualification streak. They came 4th last year and 4th the year before that as well, so they're doing pretty well recently. I think this is going to appeal to all age groups. I think it's a really good position for them. I don't know why, but they're still 11th in the qualification odds. I think that is an exaggeration. I'm not saying it's an absolute definite yes, but I think 11th in the qualification odds is seems a little bit weird to me. This has got such broad appeal and very happy and fun in a semi-final that doesn't have a lot of like very happy, bright, fun, lovely, playful songs. Like, what else have you got really that's fun and playful? You've got Norway, Israel, and like, you know, like Finland's obviously playful, but like it's still quite serious and intense, like kind of like very kid-friendly, fun, playful stuff. I think Portugal's okay. In 6th now we have Ireland. This caused a little bit of controversy on Twitter. I have to admit, I do think it is a little bit unusual. This song is very low down on the Eurovision scoreboard rankings. It's low down in the odds. It's low down in the qualification odds. This to me honestly feels like a favour from Liverpool to Ireland. Obviously Liverpool has really strong Irish connections, knowing that our qualification streak so recently is so bad. This is the best possible draw that we can have. I know you could say 7's even better, but 6 or 7 is like the real coveted spots in the first half, and we've been given it. I don't see what the justification for that is really. Maybe there is a reason that we don't know of yet. Like I said, there's some props or there's some color clashes so that they need to separate them from someone else. I'm a little bit concerned now that it could backfire in a way, because maybe this might mean instead of coming last in the semi, they come 13th, but in doing so, not putting Malta or Latvia, who are kind of borderline qualifiers, in there instead. These 2 won't qualify. These already wouldn't have qualified, and what you're going to happen is just more second half countries will qualify instead. Instead of 6 people qualifying from the second half and 4 from the first half, you might just have 7-3. It doesn't happen that often that we have a 7-3 split. The last time was semi-final number 2 of 2019, and then the time before that you have to go all the way back to 2009. So it's very rare that we have 7 from one half and 3 from another qualify through. But I think if you wanted to make that happen, putting one of the more no-hopers in the best slot and then putting the ones who had a kind of okay shot in the weaker slot could potentially cause that to happen. So I hope that doesn't backfire in that way. But yeah, I think this is a bit of friendliness from the city of Liverpool. On the flip side, they said that they're bringing something big to Liverpool. Maybe this is something with props. I'm not sure what kind of props they could bring that would feel authentic to the performance. Maybe they thought of something outside the box. I think that would be definitely help their chances a lot. So the 6th slot has a 62% qualification rate. That is above average. Okay, going into 7th now, and we have Croatia. They are closing the half. This is a great slot for them. I said in my previous video, I think that they're going to go through. I'm still waiting to see what the final staging is, to see what they've been permitted to bring on stage. I heard that they can bring on rockets. They might bring on a tractor. They might have their butt exposed. You know, if Chanel had her butt exposed last year, so if it's okay for her, it should be okay for them. Yeah, look, this is the best possible running order in the semi-final. They would be remembered no matter where they were, but definitely being an extra 15 minutes later is going to help be even more memorable. So for me, this is becoming a likely yes. I just need to see that rehearsal to know that they've been allowed to bring on all these things, and then I'll be quite sure about it. And that would be great if they did go through, because that would end their 4 non-qualification streak. So let's now get to slot number 8. That's Switzerland, Remo Ferrer singing Watergun. An interesting thing about slot number 8, the last 3 years, whoever's been in slot number 8 has come second in the semi-final. So that's quite a delicious streak that I'm sure Remo Ferrer would like to keep going. I don't think he is. Still, it's a pretty good slot. It's got a 58% qualification rate. I saw a lot of people saying that they think this is bad for him. I actually think this is really, really good. Generally, I think it's more important what you follow rather than what follows you. Anyone who thinks that Croatia's like too silly or over the top or a bit like not taking things too seriously, this is a really, really, really sharp contrast. So fans for Switzerland, anyone who likes something a little bit more classic or conservative, that following Croatia is going to really highlight those elements of the song. I think this is a really, really pretty song as well. I think that it's already got a shot. It's currently 7th in the qualification lot, so it's actually moved up 1 spot, presumably based off this is running order. So I think this is actually really good for Switzerland. I didn't realize that the 8th slot had such a great record recently. I suppose it's kind of right in the middle, so I'm feeling more positive about Switzerland now. I think I put them out in my prediction video, but I'm contemplating putting them in now. I will give you my updated predictions at the end of this video. Okay, in the 9th slot we have Israel. Now I thought they were going to close because I thought they had something really, really big planned. Still could be that. Doesn't look like it's near an ad break, which is a little bit unusual for me. I thought maybe they might be bringing on some big props, but maybe what they have big planned is more just dancers. They still can have something grandiose, but it could just be costume changes, or it doesn't have to involve props. So if that's the case, then we could still be getting a big show from Israel. Yeah, this song feels like it's geared towards a performance that's being written with that in mind. The 9th slot has a 62 qualification rate. Israel had that 5 qualification streak which ended last year, so they'll be looking to get that back as soon as possible. I think this is an okay running order. I think the songs either side of it are pretty different enough. Yeah, a lot of speculation that her show is going to be really, really big. So there's a lot of expectations that once we see the rehearsal, this is going to be a wow moment and it'll be a no-brainer. Okay, in 10th we have Moldova. Now, I have to admit, Moldova is one of the countries I've been kind of cooling on a little bit lately in terms of qualification. I know that they have that amazing televote history, being so many times in the top 4 in their semi-final televote, which I spoke about in my prediction video. I'm still just thinking, I don't know, it's definitely going to stand out because it's an ethnic number, but it's between both Israel and Sweden. And if they do come with like these really, really, really big, expensive, impressive looking shows, you just need to be careful that this doesn't look a little bit too homemade. That could just kind of make it look a little bit cheap or a little bit unfinished compared to that. The 10th qualification slot only has a 54% qualification rate. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just cooling on a little bit. I'm not saying that I'm putting them out, but I don't know, I just don't see this as like a particularly favorable draw to. Then again, though, they could just surprise us. Last year I wasn't going in with big positivity towards Trendatool, and it did amazing. So Moldova have this history of pulling things out of the bag. I do feel like they need to pull another one of those Moldovan tricks out of the bag. In 11th we have Lorraine with Tattoo. So presumably there's an ad break here, and then they have time to bring in whatever they have come up with. They probably, presumably they've submitted their ideas now and they've told them that there's something that needs to be wheeled on. This is probably pretty easy for them to get off the stage, giving them a maximum amount of time to set everything up for Sweden. And then I would imagine that also means that Azerbaijan has pretty simple staging, because it won't take too long to deconstruct this. Yeah, look, you could put her in any running order and she'd qualify. The 11th slot doesn't predict. Actually, funny enough, the 11th slot has the 3rd or worst qualification rate with only 42%. So it's kind of funny that they've put her here this year, because if she qualifies, that's going to prove it. So really, this year in the 3 slots that have the worst qualification rates, they've put 3 pretty strong songs: Armenia, Serbia, and Sweden. Armenia obviously being in semi-final number 2. So I don't know if that's just like a coincidence, but if it's not a coincidence, I kind of love it. I kind of love that they're trying to get those numbers up to dispel some of the negativity around some of the historically weaker running order slots. Okay, anyway, look, she's definitely qualifying. So now let's go to song number 12. That's Azerbaijan. I think this is like, unless they pull some absolute gigantic staging out of nowhere, I just think this is gone. Between Lorraine and And the girls from Czechia, yeah, I just think it's going to be killed. The 12th running order slot has a 65 qualification rate. Okay, going to Czechia in 13th. Again, 65 qualification rate here. I think this is pretty good. It's going to be very near the end, very easy for them to be memorable. We just need to see what their live performance is going to be like. Presumably, it's going to be much more polished, put together than it was in the ESCZ national final. But yeah, I think this draw is pretty favorable them. Hopefully they don't lose too many viewers from Azerbaijan, but I think they're going to stand out. They've got something kind of ethnic and a little bit more fast tempo between these two more solemn songs, so I think that's going to help them stand out. This is really up to them. They've got a great slot, they've got a great song, they just need to perform it well and they're going to get across the line. In the 14th slot, this is the best slot historically. It has a 77% qualification rate, so 4 out of 5 people usually qualify from here. The last 6 semi-finals that have happened, everybody has qualified from here, so that's a lot of pressure to put on Netherlands. I've seen some people talking about how they think this is very bad for Netherlands, being between Czechia and Finland. I have to admit, I don't agree with that. I think the Czechia girls are going to be fine, good. I don't think that they're like super wow performers in the same way that Garia and Lorraine are. I think that what we saw in the national final, we're hoping that they'll prove to something decent, but I don't think they're the type of like wow thing that the next person who comes on is going to feel like just like embarrassed to be on the stage at all. The Netherlands are definitely able to hold their own in terms of staging. I'm imagining this is going to be like very colorful with a lot of this imagery that they have in the music video, going into something that's probably more solemn and dark with like playing with lights. So I think they're going to contrast really well. This is like a slower song. I think Netherlands staging recently has been really, really lovely. It's a great running order slot, like 14th. It has the best qualification record. Other than slot number 8, it's got the best running order qualification streak. Netherlands themselves are on a 6 qualification streak. So there's so many things working for this. I do think they need to have like very elevated staging because the semi-final is so difficult, but yeah, I definitely think it's possible. I'm not ruling them out at all at this time. I think this is a pretty favorable draw. And last is going to be Garia. I think they just want to have an absolute showstopper. This is a really interesting one for me because first of all, he's going to qualify. You could have put him in slot 2, 3, anywhere. It doesn't matter. He would have qualified. Instinct for this, I think this is going to build up a lot of hype for Garia going into the final. Him being last, getting the most attention, ending the show with this gigantic explosion. I think that we're going to see a big odds jump for Garia after the semi-final, after his name is called. It's going to be the freshest thing in people's minds. I think some of the more casual fans who are getting this massive shock at the end of a semi-final, seeing this like rock, rap, human guy riding some cha-cha-cha dancers, I think it's going to blow their socks off. So this is obviously going to go through, but just for your information, the 15th slot has a 62 qualification rate. I've seen some people saying that they think that Garia being here kind of messes up Netherlands. Again, I don't really see why it would mess up Netherlands, but not everyone else. Like, if he overshadows people, he's going to overshadow everyone who's before him. I don't see why he would just overshadow the Netherlands. Plus, honestly, I think that they've got very different fan bases. Obviously, there's some people like both, like me, for example. I like both these songs, but generally think that the people who are going to actually pick up the phone and tell a vote for these two countries are pretty different anyway. So I don't think there's like a gigantic group of people who would have voted for Netherlands and all of a sudden they're going to see Garia and then go, oh no, I'm going to vote for that now, because they're just very different genres and different feels, and they're going to have very different looks and color palettes and everything. So I don't think that this kills Netherlands at all. And we just know that generally the being late in the second half of the televote is just advantageous. The people who are watching the end of the show are the ones who are able to vote. So someone who only watches the first half won't vote. Someone who only watches the second half will vote. So just by default, you're going to get more people who have seen the second half voting because they might have missed the songs at the start. That's why I think that the recaps for the starting song should be longer, to try and counter that a little bit. Okay, let me go through and I'll talk about how my predictions are changing. So these are the 10 that I originally put through.
Norway, Serbia, Portugal, Croatia, Israel, Moldova, Sweden, Czechia, Netherlands, and Finland.
So those are the 10 I originally put through. I put 6 through in the second half and 4 in the first half. To be honest, I'm keeping Norway and I'm keeping Serbia. I'm a little bit more unsure about Serbia than I was before, but I'm still keeping it. Portugal, I'm still keeping. I think this is a good slot for them. I think the odds are underrating them. Croatia, I'm even more sure about Croatia now. These 3, I still think Ireland I don't have a shot. And Malta, I would love to see it, but I'm going to have to see some big staging. Same with Latvia. I'm going to see something big before I'm willing to change. Or one of the other countries flopping. That's the other thing that can happen. If you come with something really, really solid, but then someone else slips up, you can jump in, use that opportunity. I'm a little bit more concerned about Moldova now. I don't know if this is just like this phase I'm going through, but I am feeling that they're a little bit less likely. And I'm a little bit tempted to put in Switzerland now. I think this is just really favourite for them. Anyone who thinks that this is a little bit too kind of over the top pop, or this is just a little bit too silly, this is like a serious entry. I think it's very highlighted by what's either side of it. I think it really appeals to older age groups as well. I really love that beginning piano intro and outro. For me, it's very timeless. It makes me think of the 40s, very evocative. It makes me think of a lot of things. So, and we know Sacha Jean-Baptiste is doing their staging, and she's been very successful in the past. So that's probably the one change I'm making. Yeah, I think the other ones, I still can't see Azerbaijan. Moldova, I think that is my little bit of a surprise right now. And I'm not set in stone on this at all. I will probably change my mind again. I haven't seen any rehearsals at all. So when I see rehearsals, I might have very, very, very big changes. Based off of the running order, I'm putting Switzerland in and I'm taking Moldova out. In terms of my running order prediction, it was an absolute disaster. I think usually when you're making your running order prediction, you'll put down your first song and then you'll build around it. So me putting down the wrong song here and building everything wrong around it, it was a disaster. But let me know if you did very, very well in the predictions. I don't have a prize for you, unfortunately. My love and respect, maybe I can send you a magnet at some point in the future. That should be my prizes in the future. If I have competitions, I'll send you a magnet of your country. So in terms of the odds, Croatia have moved from 10th to 9th in the qualification odds, and Switzerland have moved up into 7th, Moldova have moved down one place, and so have Netherlands. Not as many changes in the odds as I was expecting. Maybe I think that'll just happen once we see rehearsals. I think that's fair enough that people are like, I want the information of what the rehearsal is going to look like before I'm willing to bet money on it. Generally, the semi-final qualifying odds aren't particularly juicy. Like, you only really get good odds for whoever's currently placed 13th, 14th and 15th, and you're not going to bet on them unless you have some sort of information that they're going to turn things around. So I get that there's not too many people betting on it yet. In terms of the winning odds, no massive changes. I did notice that Slovenia actually made a big jump. They were sitting around 30th and someone made a huge bet on them and they jumped up to 21st, but no other massive changes in the odds other than Czechia jumping UK to go into 7th. But yeah, I wouldn't expect the running order in the semi-final to make too much of an effect. You would think that if you're betting on a song to win, you're going to presume that it would be able to qualify from its semi-final. Overall though, I think the running order seems really good. It looks like it's going to be a great show. I like that even from the start. The first 3 songs are great. I think it's going to be from start to finish. It's going to be really, really, really entertaining. Definitely high quality than the second semi-final and more exciting. All right, that's what I thought about the running order for semi-final number 1 of Eurovision 2023. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching. See you in another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye.